Hollywood has a well-documented obsession with the end of the world. Look at the massive, explosive scale of this movie billboard. It is designed to sell us the ultimate cinematic fantasy of societal collapse. And the monsters they use to sell that fantasy are terrifyingly fast. They don't even move like individual creatures. They operate as a fluid dynamic problem, pouring over walls like a liquid tidal wave. This node-based model shows a mathematical reality. A 12-second transformation means the local infection instantly burns out. Shifted to a structural load diagram, the zombie pyramid falls apart. The mass of hundreds of bodies crushes the bottom tier into paste before breaching a wall. Since the cinematic monsters defy basic physics and biology, the actual horror of an apocalyptic scenario has to come from somewhere else. This data visualization comparing viewership trends reveals what fans actually care about. Videos dissecting monster lore get a fraction of the attention compared to the multi-million view counts on topics like apocalypse survival logistics and bunker fortification. That massive audience understands that surviving day one is mostly a matter of geographic luck. The real test is enduring the grueling reality of the first 90 days. Nobody is flying across the globe to synthesize a magic cure. They are planning for the unglamorous hurdles, securing daily clean water, carefully rationing stored calories, and reinforcing a doorframe. This massive shift in interest toward logistics reveals a community focused on the mechanics of a total reset. When we spend millions of collective hours studying how to rebuild systems from scratch, we're treating the apocalypse as a high-stakes test of human ingenuity. Movies often show a lone survivor waking up to wander down silent, pristine city streets. But look at the sheer density and layered infrastructure of a modern public square. If a severe crisis hits, those millions of people will attempt to flee simultaneously. The result wouldn't be silence. It would be a deafening symphony of shattered glass, gunfire, car alarms, and absolute panic. The immediate instinct for most people is to jump in a car and hit the highway. But that endless gridlock of vehicles guarantees an inescapable trap, turning every exit route into an impassable graveyard. The urban environment, stripped of its functional systems, becomes a lethal trap. Collective panic effectively seals the exits, turning a modern city into a suffocating prison for anyone caught inside. Once you are trapped in that environment, the idea that you can casually walk into a quiet grocery store 2 weeks later to stock up on canned goods is pure fiction. We already know how quickly panic buying empties shelves during minor supply chain disruptions. In a true collapse, that desperate, cramped crowding of people fighting over basic goods escalates immediately. Retail spaces are stripped to the bone in hours and become deadly battlegrounds. Another common and fatal strategy is setting up a massive, bright beacon on an exposed rooftop to call for rescue. A flare or a spotlight does not selectively signal friendly helicopters. It broadcasts your exact location and the fact that you have resources to every hostile, predatory survivor in a multi-mile radius. Gathering supplies and calling for help are the exact behaviors that keep us alive in a functioning society. When those civil systems fail, those same instincts are exactly what will get you killed. This brings us to the most dangerous hazard in apocalypse fiction, the looped radio broadcast promising a heavily armed, safe sanctuary. We can call this the false hope fortress. It is a predatory system that exploits human desperation, offering the supposed safety of a stark, brutalist structure in exchange for absolute, unquestioning obedience. The warning signs are always present. The communication is strictly one way. The coordinates direct you to an extremely isolated geographic location, and they almost always promise an unbelievable cure. Look at the cold, organized, heavily armed military presence securing these perimeters. Their objective in these stories is never to restore democratic society. Their goal is to subjugate the remaining population and repopulate by force. When a single armed faction holds all the resources and dictates all the rules, they aren't rescuing you. They are walking you into a cage. The initial disaster, the outbreak, the virus, the collapse, is only ever the catalyst. It is never the defining danger. The most terrifying predators on Earth are human beings who see a systemic collapse as an opportunity to build a new world order in their own violent image. It leaves us with one final question. When every law, system, and consequence disappears forever, how do you ever truly decide who is a friend and who is a foe?